I love quirky and unconventional accessories, and I thought it was about time I made a list of all of my favourite things that make my life easier as a photographer and also a content creator. I've got this list into 3 categories, and everything on this list is budget friendly. We have accessories that are good for photo and video projects, we have video centric stuff for the content creators amongst you, and we also have stuff that makes your life easier. 2 items on this list are sponsored by K&F Concept, which I shall talk about in a bit. Let's start with photo and video accessories first. First on the list, I have these close-up filters. These are super duper cheap and a great alternative to macro lenses, which can be quite expensive. What I wanted these for particularly was for video B-roll. Of course I could use a macro lens, but I wanted something that was a little bit stylized, something that had some fun things around the edges and maybe something that makes the footage look a little bit more unconventional. If you're someone like me who shoots macro photography about 3 times a year and can't really justify a dedicated macro lens, this is a really great budget solution. Next, I have these Peak Design clips. They're designed to go on your backpack like this, and then you can just slot your camera in as you're walking about. I have 2. I have one for my hiking bag and one for my camera bag. They're just super duper handy, and the plates themselves are Arca Swiss plates, so it works on all of my other accessories. I run into 2 problems as a tiny camera enthusiast when it comes to filters. 1, it's genuinely quite tricky to find high quality filters that are small. I have loads of really good quality filters, but they're for like my full frame cameras, you know, they're like 77mm and the hench. And when you stop them down on a Micro Four Thirds camera, things start to look a little bit silly. The second issue I have is I hate things that slow me down. So if I have to spend all the time screwing things on and off, I get frustrated and tend to leave the filters at home. K&F Concept have made incredibly high quality filters for tiny lenses, and they're all magnetic. So you don't even have to screw them on. The way that this works is you get a ring which is magnetic and you screw it onto your lens or lenses. And I got this set because I wanted some really high quality filters for the 2 new Micro Four Thirds lenses from OM System, the 25mm and the 17, and they both have the same front thread, which is 46mm. Once you have that on, you can take any filter that you like from the kit and it just immediately snaps on. So you don't have to screw things on and off. If you want to stack them, you can also do that as well. Dead simple. You even have a really swish gradual neutral density filter as well. So for your landscape photos, you can just whack that on, line it up with the horizon, and off you go. And if you are a tiny camera enthusiast in particular, the smaller ones are really, really high quality. They do them in standard sizes as well, but I thought it was worth mentioning because I've often struggled in the past to get good quality filters for small lenses. And the first item of many that I forgot to put on the table. I'm talking about my magnetic lights. These are RGB lights as well, so you can have them in colour or in white. I bought them because I have magnetic shelves behind me, so I can stick them underneath to highlight some of my nerdy accessories, but also often when I'm shooting B-roll, I'll put them on the table and just add like a little bit of an interest of different light onto my products. So if you ever see like a splash of light on any of my product shots, it's from these. And I love that you can just like put different colours on and you just double tap to go through, and then you're like, oh, let's stick a nice light here. Let's stick a nice light here. And now I've got cool stuff behind me. Love it. So those are ideal for both photo and video. If you want to add a little bit of RGB light into a scene, you can really get some interesting effects with it, and you can just use them as a standard fill or key light as well. This is something that I've had to get more organised with the more I've got into lots and lots and lots of different projects, particularly for instance, when I went on safari in Kenya, I was going through SD cards basically every other day, and I don't really want to format my cards when I'm out there because I like to use them as a separate backup. So on one side I have full, and on the other side I have empty. So my system is I start on the empty side. When I use them, I put them in the full side and fill this side up, and then I know which ones to take out each day and which ones are backups. Super cheap, but it's added so much to my organisation. And I really like that if you use this method, you're cycling through your SD cards as well, so you're not using the same ones every single time and wearing them out. Speaking of backup, and this is a little bit of a travel accessory, I suppose, rather than specifically photo and video, I have a USB-C dongle. This has USB-C, 2 USB-As, SD, micro SD and HDMI. And what I use this for is I have a big silly foldable phone and I just use the dongle as an interim between my SD cards and my SSD drives. So when I'm away, I can copy everything up onto a proper drive as a proper backup. This one's a little bit unconventional for a photography channel, but for my sort of tiny camera day-to-day stuff, I've started using just a normal sling bag. It's not even a photography centric sling bag. I just got this from like TK Maxx or whatever in the UK. It was £15. There's no dividers inside, but it's really incognito. It doesn't make you stand out, and you can fit a decent camera in it and a spare lens and some accessories as well. I actually have like tons of different ones. Depending on the size of the camera I'm using that day is which sort of bag I take out. I have gone through every camera bag on the planet, and this is currently my favourite solution. When I'm having like a video filming day, or if I'm on a trip, what I will use is my Brevity jumper bag, which is the best sort of incognito backpack that I've ever found. Let me just show you why you shouldn't buy the white one. They are machine washable, but every trip I go on, this just gets mingier and mingier. The best camera bag ever for big cameras, and I love that there's a little passport holder in the back, so it keeps everything safe, but do not buy the white one. Other colours are available. Apologies in advance for how disgusting this product is in terms of how I've used it. It's a great product. This is a tour box. I got given this by the company over 5 years ago now to do a dedicated review on. If you'd like to check out Baby Emily, it's not a great video. Since then, I've used this almost daily. What you basically need to do is you can assign any of these buttons and dials to anything in your software. It's really ergonomic. You have buttons exactly where you would want them to be, and it's so much faster for both photo and video editing. In Final Cut and like cut, slice, arrow, you feel like a bit of a boss using it. I know you can use keyboard shortcuts, but that's not ergonomic in the slightest for my hands. Just being able to lay my hand on this and use everything just with muscle memory has saved me hours, if not days, if not weeks of editing time for both photo and video over the last 5 years. This one's a bit silly, but hot shoe covers. I have a little cat on my OM3 and I have a little taxi cab on my Lumix S9. If we are using these products day in and day out and you want to customize them a little bit, why the heck not? I've also embossed over the logo as well. Use your equipment, customize your equipment, and enjoy it. That's what I say. So let's move on to some video specific accessories, and sort of if you're a content creator or perhaps you want to capture your day-to-day life, these things make my life a heck of a lot easier. Let's start with the most cringe-inducing thing on this list, and that is the newer neck strap. Oh yeah. How sexy do I look? To be completely honest, I feel a little bit dead inside whenever I use this, but it's designed so you can attach your GoPro here. I am blessed/cursed with the boobs, so some other things that men can use, like a chest mount or a magnetic sort of thing underneath your clothes, sometimes I end up looking at my own nose or the floor. Such is life if you have boobs. This is the only thing that's worked for me as a neck POV. It also works with phones as well, which is quite cool. So if you absolutely have to film some POV stuff, you can stick a magsafe on. You can do it portrait, landscape. And I just want to say that you can use this with Android phones as well. What I've got is a magsafe case. You can buy little stick-on magnets, it doesn't matter. And then you can add in your Android device into the MagSafe ecosystem, which I highly recommend you do. I've got a couple of other MagSafe things on this list. So yeah, it makes me cringe, but in terms of getting POV shots, it's the best thing that I have used, and I've used everything. So here is a POV angle, and you can even sort of look down and see what you're shooting as well, which is really good. So say I'm out and about, pew pew pew, pew pew pew. Oh, look at this, have you seen my lovely case? It's so nice. And another bonus tip with this is because this is like, I don't know, whichever way you bend it, it stays. You can also like attach it to things and use it as a makeshift tripod as well. So very versatile. Also in the MagSafe ecosystem, I'm going to shout out my other little find, which is a MagSafe hot shoe mount. This would be great for wedding photographers that want to get some behind the scenes, for example, or if you're just out and about shooting, whatever, you can attach this to your hot shoe. You can change vertical or horizontal. You've got a lot of wiggle room in terms of where you want it to point as well, and you can get some really creative angles. The reason I love this is I've got every other traditional springy one that money can buy, and I've tried them all, and there's just a lot of faff and friction, and sometimes you have to take your phone case off in order for these to work, and it's just a pain in the backside to use. With the MagSafe thing, you can immediately put it on. And what this is great for at the moment, I'm shooting on the Lumix S1R Mark II, and the new Lumix Flow app allows you to use your phone as a monitor. So instead of tensioning it in with one of these annoying things, I can just put the app on, stick the MagSafe on, and use it as a monitor. And I promise I'll stop banging on about MagSafe in just one moment, but I just want to show you my cute little tripod as well. So this is what I use on my Android phone. I'm using it to have my notes on right now. It's super duper handy, but I've used it for content creation, everything you can think of. It's super handy, and it's really, really well built, proper metal, and it's dead light. You can just stick this in your bag and it's just handy if you ever need it. I use this all the blooming time. It's so, so handy, and I can use it with my Go 2 as well because it's also magnetic. It's so cute. I love it. Anyway, going back to K&F Concept, this is the second product that I wanted to shout out. I've used K&F Concept stuff for blooming years. I'm shooting on a K&F Concept tripod right now, in fact. This one is superb. This is a variable ND and mist and circular polarizer filter for tiny lenses in 46mm. How cute is that? How premium is that? You can see it working. It has no X in the footage. It's really high quality. So the way that it works is you can spin the whole thing to get your circular polarizer where you want it. And then you have the lever here to have your ND on and off. I think for video, I am a bugger for cranking the shutter, as it's called, because sometimes faffing with filters annoys me. I like having a mist filter, but then if you have a mist filter on, you might either have to stack an ND filter or you can't use them both together. I like a CPL, but again, faff. Having everything in one is blooming gorgeous. And I have to say, this is the case that it came in. Like, it's proper premium and lovely. And I'm so personally happy to see a brand give smaller filters some love. Yay for K&F Concept. Thank you to them for sponsoring this video. I've got links to their products in the description, which you should definitely check out if you would like to try any of their filters. They're excellent. A recent addition to my kit, and probably the most expensive item on this list, but still for what it is pretty budget friendly, are the Hollyland wireless mics. Now, everything you need is in this case, and the reason I love them, because I'm a child, is they come with little stickers. So you either have the option of creating fun time. I've got a little smiley face on mine so that when it's on, you know, if people can see the microphone anyway, you might as well make them look cute. Or you can have a business option and just have a black sticker, and then, you know, it's super duper incognito. I love these because they're very small, they're very stylish. My prior choice to this was the Rode Go 2. These, right? They come in a crappy little case, which I've already completely trashed. There's no way to charge them all together, so you have to take up 3 USB ports in your house to charge all of the items together. They look really horrible when they have the windshield on, and, you know, they're freaking huge. So for me, having the Hollyland microphones has been a huge upgrade. I really, really highly rate them. I love them, particularly wooed by the cute little smiley face one, not gonna lie. Oh, and I suppose I should add they actually sound blooming great as well. That's the most important thing. Okay, we're branching off possibly into silly territory, but bear with me. I recently got this very silly skate boy. As you might imagine, you can stick him on a table and you can create really smooth B-roll. And what's interesting is you can change the angle of the wheels. So if you have them on a little bit of an angle, like so, you can have it go around your product and things like that. I sometimes do this by hand, and if I hit a bump or I run out of table in my footage, you'll see me go, I really like this. Is it going to be for everything? No. But if you're filming smaller things, product things, it's super cheap and it does the job. If you've ever seen a couple of these styles of videos before, this is quite a ubiquitous product and it's very popular for a reason. The magic arms. I have two different sizes. I have a wee one and the small rig larger one. And what this enables you to do is just get really cool, unconventional angles very easily. So the whole thing is loosey-goosey and then you get it where you want it and then you just tighten the one thing and then the whole thing firms up. You can attach it to cameras and get different POV shots. They're just super duper handy. I clamped this to my standing desk and did this shot in a video last year, and I just faffed about with the lights behind the desk, and you can get really cool shots like that. Unconventional, but here we go. Desk mats. I have a black one on the table now, which you've probably seen in a lot of my videos. These have two purposes for me. If I want to mix up my B-roll, I can very easily change what the table looks like. And two, because I'm filming on a wooden table, it gives you a lot of echo that's not nice in your audio. So dampening the sound with a couple of these on the table also really helps. The humble Mantispod. I have two. I have the little one, which I use for my mic stand, and I have the big one, which is great for slightly larger cameras. These are like, do you remember back in the Casey Neistat days where everyone had a Gorilla Pod? You know, those bendy boys. I think I've still got one. Of course I've still got one. This was the, you know, the OG. You could turn it into a tripod, you could bend it, you could selfie with it, yada, yada, yada. It was inherently flawed because as soon as these things lost tension, it became useless and unreliable. Enter the Mantispod. This has many tricks up its sleeve. You can open them as a tripod, and then the top bit just, you can angle yourself however you like. So you can use it to talk to camera, which is what I do when I'm feeling adventurous and leave my office. Another great thing about them, which I actually use all the time, is just with this, you can now hook your camera onto stuff. And I've done this several times when I've been shooting out and about. You can leave it up here to get some unconventional angles. You can film yourself doing stuff. The bigger one is great for, you know, micro four thirds cameras. Works great. The little one has an additional trick up its sleeve, which actually genuinely comes in handy from time to time. Moving on to make life easier accessories. There's some fun ones in here, if I do say so myself. First of all is this tri-charge unit. This works for L mount, so your G92s, your GH7s, your S5s, etc. What I love about this is you can charge 3 at once, as you can see, but when you press the button, it lights up and shows you how much battery is left in each of these things. This one's empty, this one's full. Now, what will happen when you charge these is it prioritizes the ones that are nearly full so that you can get shooting again quicker. I have a terrible, horrific drawer of like 101 different chargers, and this makes L mount charging manageable. Peak Design anchors. These little dudes. Absolute bane of my life when I shoot thumbnails and forget to take them off. But in every other circumstance, these are excellent indeed. And let me show you why. If I'm shooting the OM3, I would like to use the smallest Peak Design strap that I own, this thin little green boy. It's the smallest one, and if you've got a small camera, why not have a small strap? And then bang, done. I can take pictures, pew, pew, pew. If I'm going for a walk around the zoo, for example, I'm going to want a more comfortable strap. So then I would utilize the slightly bigger Peak Design strap, and it just makes holding these big, hefty lenses much more simple. Bigger strap, more comfortable, Emily is happy. But wait, there's more. If I have a really small camera, like this lovely LX100, the Lumix LX100 that I've bought recently, I have the same system on it. I can attach a wrist strap. Now you can buy an official Peak design one if you so fancy, or just buy a cheap paracord one off Amazon and buy the connector, which is what I've done. If I'm walking around the city, this just gives me a little bit of peace of mind, and I don't want a big old strap on this because it's tiny. And yeah, the same system allows me to do all of those things, which is why I love it. Hear me out on this one. It's a bit weird, but genuinely, I'm obsessed with this. This is a stool. Super cool. I was recently in Valencia and I was photographing a festival, and it involved waiting for firework displays, waiting for things to be set on fire, waiting. And sometimes as photographers, we do have quite a bit of waiting, whether you're photographing an event or whatever. So this is something that I sometimes stick in my hold luggage when I'm away, and I keep one or two in the car boot so that if I'm out and about and I need a seat, I have one available in different colours, and I just think they're really swish. This next one, I honestly think has made a very unorganised person somewhat less unorganised. Label makers. I have two types. I have this cute little electronic one. Oh, LX100. That's the last thing that I wrote on here, and I'll show you why. It just prints out. You can cut it off, and you have a cute little sticker. What I do with these is in my charging drawer hell, everything is appropriately labelled so I can find the right charger quickly. Benefit of this one, it's really fast to use, really reliable. My recent purchase is an embosser. I love that word. So it gives you this effect. It takes a little bit longer to do. You have to like choose the letter, click, choose the letter, click. So pros and cons to this. I think they look 10 times cooler. Like, I really like it on my camera, but the cons being it's a manual thing and it just takes a little bit longer to do, but super duper stylish. And I recommend whichever one you prefer. It does make organising stuff well better. So let me know in the comments which accessory you think is the most helpful, and what do you value most in your own workflow? What have I missed?